Om Jnana Timirandhyasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tashmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeaham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are doing Canto 2, Chapter 7, and we will be doing verses 17 and 18 today, which is on the pastime of Bali Maharaj. So I'll quickly read it. So first of all, my Dandavad Pranam to all of you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this service today. I start the recording with my prayers and my obeisances to my Guru, and with whose mercy I'm able to be here today and speak today. And I seek the mercy of all of you to be able to do this session today. And if I'm going wrong anywhere, please do correct me. Thank you, Prabhujis and Matajis. So I will just quickly read. I will read the verses 17 and 18. So verse 17 goes in this way. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jayan Guner Avarajopi Adite Sutanam Lokan Vichakrama Iman Yad Athatya Yajna Shimam Vame Nayana Jakriya Tripada Chalena Yachnam Rite Pati Charan Prabhu Pirnach Chalya. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Lord, although transcendental to all material modes, still surpassed all the qualities of the sons of Aditi, known as the Adityas. The Lord appeared as the youngest son of Aditi, and because he surpassed all the planets of the universe, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. On the pretense of asking for a measurement of 3 footsteps of land, he took away all the lands of Bali Maharaj. He asked simply because without begging, no authority can take one's rightful possession. Purport. The history of Bali Maharaj and his charity to Vamandeva is described in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Bali Maharaj conquered all the planets of the universe by rightful possession. A king can conquer other kings by strength, and such possession is considered to be rightful. So Bali Maharaj possessed all the lands of the universe, and he happened to be charitably disposed towards the Brahmanas. The Lord therefore pretended to be a beggar Brahmana, and he asked Bali Maharaj for a measurement of 3 footsteps of land. The Lord, as the proprietor of everything, could take from Bali Maharaj all the land he possessed, but he did not do so because Bali Maharaj possessed all those lands by king's rights. When Bali Maharaj was asked by Lord Vamana for such small charity, Bali Maharaj's spiritual master, namely Shukracharya, objected to this proposal. because he knew that Vamandeva was Vishnu himself, pretending to be a beggar. Bali Maharaj did not agree to abide by the order of his spiritual master when he understood that the beggar was Vishnu himself, and he at once agreed to give him in charity the land requested. By this agreement, Lord Vamana covered all the lands of the universe with his first two steps and then asked Bali Maharaj where to place the third step. Bali Maharaj was very glad to receive the Lord's remaining step upon his head, and thus Bali Maharaj, instead of losing everything he possessed, was blessed by the Lord's becoming his constant companion and doorman. So, by giving everything to the cause of the Lord, one does not lose anything, but he gains everything that he could never otherwise expect. Hare Krishna. So, I'll read the next verse as well. So, verse 18. Nartha baler ayam urukrama pada shocham apa shika trita vato vibhuta dipatyam yo vai pratishrutam rite na chikurshat anyad atmanam anga manasha haraye pimene. Translation: Bali Maharaj, who put on his head the water washed from the lotus feet of the Lord, did not think of anything besides his promise, in spite of being forbidden by his spiritual master. The king dedicated his own personal body to fulfill the measurement of the Lord's third step. For such a personality, even the kingdom of heaven, which he conquered by his strength, was of no value. Purport: Bali Maharaj, by gaining the transcendental favor of the Lord in exchange for his great material sacrifice, was able to have a place in Vaikuntha Loka with equal or greater facilities of eternal enjoyment. Therefore, he was not at all the loser by sacrificing the kingdom of heaven, which he had possessed by his material strength. In other words, when the Lord snatches away one's hard-earned material possessions and favors one with his personal transcendental service for eternal life, bliss, and knowledge, such taking away by the Lord should be considered a special favor upon such a pure devotee. Material possessions, however alluring they may be, cannot be permanent possessions. Therefore, one has to voluntarily give up such possessions, or one has to leave such possessions at the time of quitting the material body. The sane man knows that all material possessions are temporary and that the best use of such possessions is to engage them in the service of the Lord, so that the Lord may be pleased with him and award him a permanent place in his Param Dham. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Param Dharma of the Lord is described as follows: Nirmana moha jita shanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinifrita kamaha dhyantyar vimukta shuka dukkha samjnar agachanti amudya padam avyavyam tat nadat pasyate surya na shashanko na pavakaha Yat gatvana nivartante tattama paramam mama. One who possesses more in the material world in the shape of houses, land, children, society, friendship, and wealth possesses these things only for the time being. One cannot possess all these illusory paraphernalia created by Maya permanently. Such a possessor is more illusioned in the matter of his self-realization. Therefore, one should possess less or nothing, so that one may be free from artificial prestige. We are contaminated in the material world by association with the three modes of material nature. Therefore, the more one spiritually advances by devotional service to the Lord in exchange for his temporary possessions, the more one is freed from the attachment of material illusion. To achieve this stage of life, one must be firmly convinced about spiritual existence and its permanent effects. To know exactly the permanency of spiritual existence, One must voluntarily practice possessing less or only the minimum to maintain one's material existence without difficulty. One should not create artificial needs. That will help one to be satisfied with the minimum. Artificial needs of life are activities of the senses. The modern advancement of civilization is based on these activities of the senses, or in other words, it is a civilization of sense gratification. Perfect civilization is the civilization of Atma, or the soul proper. The civilized man of sense gratification is on an equal level with animals because animals cannot go beyond the activities of the senses. Above the senses is the mind. The civilization of the mental speculation is also not the perfect stage of life because above the mind is the intelligence, and the Bhagavad Gita gives us information of the intellectual civilization. The Vedic literatures give different directions for the human civilization, including the civilization of the senses, of the mind, of the intelligence, and of the soul proper. The Bhagavad Gita primarily deals with the intelligence of man, leading with the progressive path of civilization of the spirit soul. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the complete human civilization dealing with the subject matter of the soul proper. As soon as a man is raised to the status of the civilization of the soul, he is fit to be promoted to the kingdom of God, which is described in the Bhagavad Gita as per the above verses. The primary information of the kingdom of God informs us that there is no need of the sun, moon, electricity, which are all necessary in this material world of darkness. And the secondary information of the kingdom of God explains that anyone able to reach the kingdom by adoption of the civilization of the soul proper, or in other words, by the method of bhakti yoga, attains the highest perfection of life. One is then situated in the permanent existence of the soul, with full knowledge of the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Bali Maharaj accepted the civilization of the soul in exchange for his great material possessions, and thus became fit for promotion to the kingdom of God. The kingdom of heaven, which he achieved by dint of his material power, was considered most insignificant in comparison with the kingdom of God. Those who have attained the comforts of a material civilization made for sense gratification should try to attain the kingdom of God by following the footsteps of God Bali Maharaj, who exchanged his material strength adopting the process of bhakti yoga as recommended in the Bhagavad Gita and further explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. I sincerely apologize for my really bad pronunciation of the Sanskrit shloka. Do apologize for that. So we are doing two verses today, both talking about Bali Maharaj. Now in Canto 2, as in this chapter, in chapter 7, we have been looking at the various incarnations of the Lord, the Leela incarnations of the Lord, the Leela pastimes of the Lord, and how the Lord comes to protect his devotees, as he has said in Bhagavad Gita, that I come to protect my devotee over and over as many times as needed, as and when my devotees need. And we see in every incarnation of the Lord does come and protect his devotee, either directly protecting him or saving him from danger, or and also giving him a position taking him or her back to Godhead. And we saw the same yesterday. The previous verse talked about Gajendra the elephant, who was saved by the Lord from the mouths of a crocodile. And today we see the example of an extraordinary devotee, Bali Maharaj. Now, the two verses talk about some very, very important topics, which we will be touching upon. Of course, the fact that, there's the mention of the Adityas. There's the mention that the Lord, everything belongs to the Lord. And the Lord can take away everything in a split second, less than a split second, but he asks for things, and he asked for what he wanted from Bali Maharaj, and he did not snatch it away from him. So there is a lesson to learn from here as to why it is done. And it is also the fact that how much importance a promise is given, the promise of a Kshatriya, the importance of charity and how charity should be dispensed. Who should charity be given to? And in what consciousness should charity be given? There is also the mention of the guru-disciple relationship. And, how can one accept a guru, and when is the time to reject a guru? And then in the end, the conclusion talks about how the material possessions are become immaterial, and how they're of no importance at all, and how we are different from the animal existence, and how our souls are more important in their position of, and more realized and full of consciousness to be able to go back to Godhead through Bhakti Yoga, and the heavenly possession versus the kingdom of God. So there are quite a few points to touch upon in these two verses, in this wonderful pastime of Bali Maharaj. The purport also mentions that, sorry, it should come. The purport also mentions that this is a verse that is also described in the 8th canto in details. So we will learn more about this pastime in the 8th canto. Now, let's start with the Adityas. So, who were the Adityas? So, Kashyap Muni was the son of a great rishi called Marichi, and he was also one of the sons-in-law of Prajapati Daksha. Now, as we know, Prajapati, and this is mentioned quite a lot in the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad. Now, as we know, the Prajapatis are the living entities who were, or who has been empowered with to progenerate and fill the universe with living entities. So their duty is to increase the population, because as we know, there is the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the creation. And after each annihilation, when the universe is created again, Lord Brahma is in charge of the secondary creation, and then he assigns the duty to the Prajapatis to populate the universe again. And so we see that that Kashyap Muni was and so Kashyap Muni was the son of a great Rishi Marichi, and he was also one of the sons-in-law of Prajapati Daksha. Now, Prajapati Daksha had married many daughters, and as we know that Prajapati Daksha, later on, he becomes very, very famous in the pastime where he disrespects Lord Shiva, and his head is cut off and replaced by the head of a goat, and but that's a different last time. But Daksha Prajapati had many daughters, and he marries 13 of them to Kashyap Muni. Two of their daughters. Now, there are different information over here. In some places, it says that only 2 daughters of Daksha Prajapati were married to Kashyap Muni. Other places say 13 of the daughters. But whatever the case, the 2 main daughters of Daksha Muni, Daksha Prajapati, Aditi and Diti, were married to Kashyap Muni, a great rishi. Now, Aditi gives birth to the Adityas, or she was a great devotee, and Kashyap Muni was very happy with her devotion, and he asked her what boon she wanted, and she said, "I wanted a perfect and ideal son." Then Indra was born, and followed by the 12 Adityas, or the Adityas were the demigods. The 12 Adityas were Varuna, Parjanya, Mitra, Amsha, Pushan, Datri, Aryaman, Surya, Paga, Savitri, Vamana, and Vishnu. So we hear the name Vamana over here. And Vamana is also one of the Adityas, but he was also an incarnation of Vishnu. So Aditi's son Vamandev was a beautiful dwarf boy, and is also a plenary expansion of Lord Krishna, where he incarnates to do one of his main leelas with Bali Maharaj. Now, Diti, on the other hand, the other daughter, gave birth to the more asuric, or the demoniac entities, or the living entities. They had demoniac mentality. They were very, very qualified. However, they were atheists. They did not believe in the Lord, and they were complete demons. So that is a bit of the background of who the Adityas were. Now, throughout the Bhagavatam, we see that there are these two clans of the demigods, or the devatas, and the asuras, or the demons. They're always fighting for supremacy. And Indra, the king of the heavens, is always in anxiety of losing his position, and he's always at war with the demons. There's this constant war between the demons and the demigods. Now, we think that the heavenly planets they're full of opulence, so it's a place to live in permanent happiness. But we forget that it is also in the material world, and it is not beyond the material distresses. So even in the heavenly planets, there is this constant battle between the demons and the demigods. So sometimes one party wins, and sometimes the others win. So there is this constant, somebody wins and the other loses. Now, in this particular case, Bali Maharaj, he was born in the illustrious family of Prahlad Maharaj, who again was the son of the demon Hiranyakashipu, as we know. But Prahlad Maharaj is a great devotee. He's one of the Mahajans, and the Mahajans, as we know, they are the great devotees, and they disseminate the love of Godhead across the material universe. So we see there are 12 great Mahajans, and can anyone name a couple of them? The 12 great Mahajans. There's Prahlad Maharaj, there's Bhishma Dev, there's
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna. There is start by Lord Brahma himself, and then we have Bhishma Dev, we have Lord Shiva, we have Prahlad Maharaj, Bali Maharaj,
Yes.
and I
There's
have all of them in my head, but
no,
then I cannot get them right now.
no,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Mataji. There are also the four Kumara.
Okay. I remember now. So it's Brahma, and then Narada. I forgot Narada.
Yes.
And then we have Shambhu, Lord Shiva.
Yes.
And then we have the four Kumaras,
Yes.
Kapil Dev, Manu, Prahlad, Janaka,
Janaka.
Bhismadev,
Yes.
and Vyasadev, and Yamraj.
Yamraj, and yes, Sukdev Goswami as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, Yamraj, Lord Brahma, Kapil Muni, Janaka, that's the ones I've got. Bhishmadev, Narada, Narad Muni, Bali, the four Kumaras, Prahlad Maharaj, Lord Shiva, Yamraj, and Bali Maharaj as well. So we see both Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj, they are Mahajans, or rather, despite being born in the demoniac families, they were great devotees of the Lord. Now, in this particular case, in the war between the demigods and the demons, Bali Maharaj had won. Now, we also get to know that initially, Bali Maharaj, although he was the son of Virchana, he actually initially lost in the battle, and he was killed. And then his spiritual master Shukracharya revived him, because Shukracharya was a great mystic, and he had all these great mystical powers. So he was able to revive and bring Bali Maharaj back to life. But the problem with Shukracharya was not that he was not a very big devotee of Vishnu. So, but we can understand that Bali Maharaj was greatly indebted to Shukracharya, because he had brought him back to life. And then Bali Maharaj did a yagna. He did a yagna, the Vishwajit yagna, to conquer over everybody. And that is how he conquered and he won over the demigods this time. And he became very, very powerful, defeated the demigods, and he was in charge of, the heavenly planets as well. So he had all the material opulences of the heavenly planet. Now we will read that, in the Bhagavatam later on as well, that one of the reasons that Bali Maharaj did the yagna was because, and he won, not just the fact that he was able to win, but he was able to win, and it became easy for him to win, was because the demigods had offended their guru, who was Brihaspati. So here immediately we come across the importance of Guru. Now, even before we go into the importance of Guru, let's very quickly recap what Bali Maharaj did. So we know that Indra, he went, so Indra wanted help from Lord Vishnu. And this is all comes through, where Aditi was very sad because, her sons had lost. Kashyap Muni asked her what was the matter. And then when hearing from Aditi, Kashyap Muni says that, asked her to perform some austerity. And then Vamandev was born as Vishnu as a Vishnu incarnation to be able to save the demigods. Vamandev comes and Bali Maharaj was doing a yagna again. I think he was doing an Ashwamedha yagna, and Bali Maharaj comes and he asks, as he asks for things as a beggar. Now we read in the first verse how Bali Maharaj asks for charity, and this is such a good thing to learn because first of all, the Lord could have taken everything in a split second, but he does not. He maintains that etiquette of asking, more so because he wanted to highlight the goodness of his devotee. Now, this is something that Lord always wants to do. He always wants to, glorify his devotee. And over here, right from the start of this pastime, we see how the Lord is giving every opportunity to glorify Bali Maharaj, his great devotee. So right from the first, he says, he goes and he knew that Bali Maharaj was a great Kshatriya, and he was always wanting to do charity. That is something that Bali Maharaj loved to do. And he was especially very, very kind towards the Brahmanas. So the Lord goes and asks for some charity. And when Bali Maharaj, he was even wanting to give a whole planet to the Lord, but the Lord said he just wants 3 places of land, just 3 steps of land, where Bali Maharaj was very, very surprised. He thought, what is happening? You could have asked me anything. But in the meantime, as a quick side story, the daughter, some places say the daughter, some places say the sister of Bali Maharaj was Ratnabali, who, when she saw Bali Maharaj, Lord Vamana, as the beautiful, beautiful dwarf, and later on it's described that Vamandev, he had the beautiful dark skin, wearing a yellow garment, wearing garlands, having a water pot, and his danda that he would have, and he was so effulgent that all eyes went to him. And he's Krishna, it was obvious he's the all attractive. So Ratnabali really, really wanted to, have this beautiful Vamandev as her son. So she had that motherly intention in her, which we see later on when she's reborn as Putana. But then what happens later on? So then we come back to the story of Bali Maharaj, and where the Lord Bali Maharaj agrees to that. Shukracharya immediately understands that this is Vishnu, and he warns Bali Maharaj that don't agree, do not, just take back your oath, just take back your oath. And Bali Maharaj being the perfect king, and this is where we touch upon the second point, the importance of giving a promise, a truthful promise in the true sense, not this material world, not a promise of, which is very, very materialistic, and which is always based on give and take. And then we realize that the promise we made to some person is a wrong promise, because that actually affects our own life and our own devotional and our path of righteousness. And so in that case, sometimes we have to retract from what we have said, because we know that what we have said to some people, that would take us in the path of wrong. So then, as Krishna says, that you have to protect yourself first. You have to protect yourself in the path of dharma first. And that is what we do. So sometimes we see we are not able to keep promises. However, this is Bali Maharaj, where he's promised a Brahmana some charity. And so he says that he's not going to take it back. And this is again where the Lord glorifies Vamandev. And the Lord asks for 3 steps. And with the first step, he covers the entire universe. With the second step, he covers the ether or the sky. And then he demands that, where am I going to put my third step? And he shows anger, and all of this is in the form of Leela. He doesn't get angry, deliberately gets angry, but in the Leela, he shows that he's angry because there is no place to put his third step. He has grown into a massive, figure, from that small dwarf Vaman, he has grown into a massive figure. And Bali Maharaj knew that he was the Lord. And then Prahlad Maharaj and Bali Maharaj's wife comes and prays to the Lord and asks for forgiveness. And Bali Maharaj's wife also encourages Bali Maharaj that, you've got your head as well. You've got that, just surrender unto the Lord. And even if the wife had not told him, and this is where we see how couples should be, that is the perfect couple, devotee couple, where, despite the fact that the wife knew that, Bali Maharaj is going to lose all his wealth, but she still encourages Bali Maharaj to do the right rather than do the wrong and not give charity to the Vamana. And Bali Maharaj offers his head in complete surrender to the Lord, where the Lord puts his feet on the head, and Bali Maharaj is taken to Sutala Lok, where the Lord, being very, very happy, makes Bali Maharaj the ruler of the whole of the Sutala planet. And he becomes the doorkeeper or the doorman of the Sutala planet. And although the heavenly planets are very, very opulent, the Sutala planet was more opulent. And on top of that, the Lord becomes the doorman. So we see that's the whole pastime very, very briefly, but there are so many points that we are being highlighted over here in this verse. So first of all, as we said, there's obviously the character of Bali Maharaj, a very, very righteous person, a devotional person who keeps to his word about, especially around charity. And as soon as someone wants to give charity, we know that's a kind person. And being kind, being compassionate is the first, is the great, or rather the greatest quality of being a devotee. And we know that he is also a Mahajan. And then we see how he did not hear the advice of his guru. Now, just a while ago, we said that the Guru Shukracharya, he had actually saved Bali Maharaj, brought him back to life when Bali Maharaj had died once. So Bali Maharaj was incredibly indebted to Shukracharya. However, he did not listen to the advice of Shukracharya over here. And over here, a very important point is being stressed upon. Now, we are taught that, Guru is our representation of God in this material world. And Guru we should worship and we should listen to the Guru as we should do to the Lord. And the Guru is everything. We must listen to him. But when is it when we cannot listen to a guru? It is extremely rare and it is not advised at all. And, even if someone is not happy with one's guru, one is advised to go and seek advice from another senior devotee and consider this before saying anything to the guru. So the relationship between a guru and a devotee is extremely, extremely, extremely important and extremely sacred. And such a great devotee as Bali Maharaj to deny and not take the advice of Shukracharya, we would think that that is very, very unlikely and uncharacteristic of Bali Maharaj. But when does that happen? It only happens when the guru goes against Shastra or the Vedas or turns away from the Lord. And that is when, because the task of the guru is to take the disciple back to Godhead. So if the guru himself is asking the disciple to turn away from Godhead, that is where the disciple or the shishya is able to not hear or deny the advice given by the Guru. So in Canto 6 of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is described that the king is always protected by 6 elements, rather by 7 elements. The Guru, the ministers, the kingdom, the fort of the king, the treasury or the money of the king, the royal order of the king, and, you know, the very loved ones, the loved ones of the king. So the king is always protected by his loved ones, by his royal order, money, the fort, the kingdom, his ministers, but most importantly, his guru. That's the first person the king is protected. So we can see Bali Maharaj was being protected by his guru, but he denies that because the guru had turned away or the spiritual master had turned away from the Lord himself. Now we come to the spiritual master, Shukracharya. Why did he do what he did? Why did he ask Bali Maharaj not to listen to Vamandev and to deny Vamandev the charity? Now that is because Shukracharya was giving Bali Maharaj material advice. He had a hidden agenda. Now he could see that this is the Lord, this is Lord Vishnu, and he's going to take away everything from Bali Maharaj. His only purpose to come here is to get back the kingdom and take everything away and give the heavenly planets back to the demigods. That's his only purpose. Now, if Bali Maharaj loses everything, to this beautiful boy, can be a beautiful boy, but he's still Vishnu, then how am I going to be maintained? So that's the mentality of the Daityas, the demoniac characteristics. So he realizes that those 3 steps will lose Bali Maharaj of everything, and his livelihood will be in danger. And that was the thought of Shukracharya, and so he had vested interest. So, you know, sometimes we see, you know, if they are wrong gurus, they would look for very wealthy disciples because they have vested interest in that. But a true spiritual master should not think of all of this. A true Brahmin should not think of all of this. The true nature of the Brahmin, or the reason that the Lord created the Brahmana and the duties given to the Brahmana, the main one is to provide knowledge and advice to everybody, so that we take the path back to Godhead, because we are all material beings. We are covered by material energy. We do not have the intelligence to connect with the Lord directly. Just as, you know, we give the very common example of, you know, if you want to see the prime minister or the king of a country, we won't be able to go there directly. We have to go through his ministers or his personal secretary, who will be able to give us the pass to see him or her. Similarly, we do not have the quality, being in this material world, we do not have the quality to go and directly talk to the Lord, unless we have acquired those qualities to be able to go and see God and talk to God. And who gives us those qualities? Those qualities we acquire from the advice given to us by our guru. So if a guru turns us away from the Lord, that is not a true guru. And that is what Bali Maharaj realized in Shukracharya at the moment. And so he did not agree to Shukracharya, and he turned away from that. You know, even in the 6th canto, we also see the demon Vitrasura, Vitrasura, who was fighting Indra. He was again, of a demoniac nature, but he was a great scholar and sage. And he was giving Indra all kinds of spiritual advice that, yes, do kill me. It's only a material body. I'm a soul. So we see through these examples in the various examples that is given to us throughout Srimad Bhagavatam, we are told over and over again not to, put people in boxes, not to think that, oh, this is a demon, and so all of them will definitely have demoniac qualities. This is a Brahman, so they will definitely have Brahman qualities. This is a Kshatriya, they would have Kshatriya qualities. We see Krishna trying to tell us through the Vedic scriptures over and over and over again that these varnas being, or these, whether you're a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, whether you have divine qualities or demoniac qualities, they are entirely based on your individual quality and your actions. That determine who you are and what kind of person or soul you are, rather than your birth. And this is again being drawn, this is again being mentioned to over here in this Leela as well. So we see when we are doing charity, even in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we are told that when we do charity, we have to be very careful. So we have to check who we are giving charity towards or to. We may end up giving charity or giving things to the wrong person who may take money from us and then go and take it and buy drugs with it or gamble with it. And then we, despite the fact that we wanted to do good to that person, we would incur wrong or bad karma. So we have to be very careful where we give charity. And Bali Maharaj was very conscious of that. And that is the reason he was very, very keen on doing charities to Brahmanas and the true Brahmanas. And so he knew that not giving charity to a Brahmana would actually be wrong on his part. So he kept to it. We also notice the consciousness with which we want to do charity. Sometimes we see people donating things. Some people donate money or things out of love or out of real want. Other people, they just donate because that's an obligation. Oh, I have to give this much money to this charity this year. It's a yearly thing or a monthly thing. So we are being drawn attention to the fact that if we are wanting to do charity, first of all, choose the right charity and then give the charity out of, goodness, out of, truthfulness, because at the end of the day, everything belongs to the Lord anyway. And that is what the second verse talked to us about, we are drawn attention to the fact that we are entirely in a material world. Everything is material possession. So, despite the fact that, Bali Maharaj won the battle and got the heavenly planets, even the heavenly planets, that's material possession. But what he got in return from the Lord is the eternal position in the Vaikuntha planets. Yes, for the time being, he will be in the Sutala Loka. But even in Sutala Loka, that is the Dham. Wherever the Lord is, that is the Dham. And wherever a true devotee is, that is the Dham. So even being in the material world, he was enjoying the eternal. And then he had the permanent position, a position given to him by the Lord in the Vaikuntha planets, because he's the true devotee. So what Bali Maharaj lost as his material possession, he gained way, way, way more. And that is what we are being told, that material possession is temporary. It's the illusory paraphernalia and it goes in time. It's not permanent, but what is permanent is devotion, because we never lose devotion. Even if a person takes birth over and over and over again, a tiny bit of devotion done in one birth will never be lost. That will be remembered in the next births. Sorry, just give me a sec. I'm sorry about that. So we conclude today's discussion by the concluding points brought about in the second verse, that the material possession is temporary. Not only that, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in 9.22, Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, verse 22, that to him or to them whose minds are always absorbed in me, I provide what they lack, and I preserve what they already possess. So the Lord is saying that by doing devotion, you do not lose anything. The Lord takes care and protects what we already have. And he also gives us what we lack, what we do not have. Some people might think that, the Lord is taking away, material possessions from me, or work from me, or some of my friends from me. But that is only because the Lord wants to give us greater things, much better work, much more material wealth, much better people in our lives. So when we are in the path of devotion, sometimes what is being drawn attention to is that we must keep our faith firmly in the Lord, that whatever is happening in our life, that is happening for the best. Because if the Lord has said himself in the Bhagavad Gita that I am going to, if you will follow me, I am going to give you, I'm going to protect what you have, and I'm going to give you what you lack, then we are in a, we are in a win-win situation. We can never lose anything. We might lose a few material things here and there, but that is probably going to give us better or more belief in him and help us in practicing bhakti better. So the soul, and that is also going to help us introspect into our soul, make us realize that these material possessions that I have, they were only going to, supplement my material existence, and, only these are temporary and only for my sense gratification in this particular material existence. Okay, they will go away one day, whether it's some friends, whether it's some wealth, or whether it's some work, or whether it's, anything, they will go away one day. But I will have to have the belief that the Lord has bigger plans for me and better plans for me. And by performing bhakti, this is our way in believing in our soul. That is what we have to do. Connect with our soul, connect with bhakti, and realize that, even if we give in charity everything to the Lord is going to give us in return way, way more, as he did to Bali Maharaj. So he took away maybe he took away the heavenly planets from Bali Maharaj, but he gave him a planet which is way more opulent than the heavenly planets. Although it is one of the hellish planets, Sutala Loka is in one of the lower planets in the lower world. but it is more opulent than the heavenly planet, and more so, the Lord himself agreed to be his doorman. I mean, once even Ravana came to do his mischief in Sutalaloka, and it said that Vaman threw Ravana away. Ravana probably thought, he as Bali Maharaj is a demon as well, and I'll find a friend in him. But no, Ravana being a demon and Bali Maharaj being a demon is way, way different. Bali Maharaj is a true devotee and the Lord is his doorman at all times. So we conclude with the fact that, by giving up everything in charity for the cause of the Lord, one does not lose anything, but rather gains everything. And that is what is being drawn attention to in this pastime of the Lord. Okay, Bali Maharaj. So I'll conclude my discussion over here. It's two I do apologize. I only summarized because there were just so many points to touch upon. It wouldn't have been possible for me to go in depth and talk about all of them. But the good thing is that we will be able to talk about all of the minute points in details when we go to the 8th canto, where this pastime is again mentioned and talked of. So I take your permission and I conclude my discussion here. If I've made any mistakes, please do correct me. Hare Krishna. Are there any reflections, any comments? Welcome. Any corrections?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Krishna
Thank
Mataji.
you for a very nice discourse. I just wanted to know on the topic of a promise. If you have to break a promise, which you think is a good reason, does that mean you are committing a sin?
Well, Mataji, that is where, well, first of all, we do take advice from seniors if you think it's a serious promise, but we have to protect, I mean, this is my understanding, but I could be wrong, and do correct me if I'm wrong. But we have been advised and we have been told this is the body given to us, and the body is the temple because the Lord resides in the body. So our responsibility is to protect us and to safeguard us. And if through a promise which we might have entered into in a momentary situation, in a moment of, when we were not totally aware of all the things, if we have entered into such a promise and we later have a better insight of the whole situation, and we realize that going or keeping that promise is going to take me away from the path of right, then we would take the path of right rather than willfully and with open eyes get into the path of wrong, because it is our duty to continue on the path of right, which would take us back to Godhead, and not commit offenses, not not go into the path of wrong. But that is my understanding, and that is, I get this understanding from the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is just telling Arjuna that, I understand, they are your brothers and, they're your relatives, but you have to walk in the path of dharma. There is so much you can tolerate. After that, you have to look after yourself and go walk in the path of dharma, and not just because somebody is your friend or your very close friends, not deliberately enter into the path of wrong, knowing that that path of wrong is going to do harm to you and take you away from the path of right. So that is my understanding, Mataji, but I don't know if other comments are welcome. I'm not sure if that agrees with you, Mataji.
Oh, that is really very, very helpful. Thank you so much.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please can you accept my humble obeisances? So go to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for a nice class. Again, you always go deep down and search and then do your research and then come and share with us. That was very great. Thank you so much. And as you said, these two pastimes in there and two verses, and it's a lot. It's a lot. We will know about it later on when we go to the pastime of Bali Maharaj and Vaman Dev. And Mataji, the question she asked, she already gave her answer. She said, when I realized that it is not good. So your answer is there already, because you are the one who take the promise to give, and you are the one who realized later that that is not good. So your consciousness is telling you it's not good. So stop it there. Instead of giving or carrying your promise and then later on finding that now it's too late, I cannot do anything. It's better stop it before. That is very good. Very nice, Mataji. A few points. Like
just on that point, because that was one of the points in the second verse as well, in verse 18. But how we are different from animals, because we do have the human bodies, we have the consciousness given to us. If our consciousness says that something is not right, we mustn't do that. And that's also kind of mentioned that, you know, we do have the better consciousness, and we are not animals who only have the 4 tasks of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. We have that as well, but on top of that, we have consciousness, which takes us towards the good, which wants us to do the good rather than, you know, get into something bad. So yeah, thank you, Indulekha Mataji.
And then, you know, when you trust in God, it gives you the right realization at the right time. Yes. That is what Mataji has realized. Very good. One point I liked most was Putana. Putana, who was a daughter of Bali Maharaj, when he saw Vamandev, she was so happy. She said, look how nice this little Brahmana look. I wish I could hold him and feed him my milk. And then when Vamandev took everything from Bali Maharaj, she got so angry. She said, I want to give him poison.
Yes.
So the Lord said, okay, I fulfill both your desire. Give me poison, give me your breast milk also.
Yes. So the Lord is so merciful. The Lord, you know, said yes to both her wishes.
Yes.
And she was born as Putana. Yes. Thank you, Mataji. I forgot to complete the story.
No. You didn't forget, Mataji. You told everything, but little point just to make sure that we don't get the wrong conception. Yes, Putana. How come she came here and how not? And Shukracharya, he was also a very great Brahmana. Shukracharya and Brihaspati, they were both on the same. They are both on the same level. So the Devatas, the demigods, they had to choose between Shukracharya and Brihaspati. They picked Brihaspati over Shukracharya. Shukracharya was very mad. Then he went to the demons. He became their guru. That's how he revived Bali Maharaj when he has got the Sanjeevani mantra. He revived Bali Maharaj, but then he counseled Bali Maharaj. He said, look, now you have come back to life. Now you start doing yagnas. You start doing yagnas. You start inviting the brahmanas, because with their blessing, with their yagnas, you will be able to conquer the demigods. Whereas the demigods, they saw that they have killed Bali Maharaj, there's nothing wrong. Now they started enjoying. And here, the demons, they are doing the 5 sacrifices and inviting the brahmanas. They got the blessing from their gurus and brahmanas. But there's contradiction also when his guru said, don't give to Vishnu. So Bali Maharaj, he is from a very great descendant, from Bharad Maharaj. He thought, Guru is here. Yes, Guru brought me to God. But if Guru is wrong, I have this consciousness of discarding the Guru at this point, because I give everything to the Lord, I'll surpass the Guru. He didn't have any bad intention, but then there he had to take the right path. So that is also great. So Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much. Thank you.
So much for these very, very nice additions. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So anybody want to end this session? Because I presume that Kritika is not around.
So we can say the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra together.
Okay, everybody, let's unmute and just to glorify Panchali Mataji, let's say the Maha Mantra one time. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa-sindhu bhavaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Ananda Koti Vaishnav ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Guru Maharaj ki jai, Panchali Mataji ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for attending this class. Tomorrow I won't be able to attend. Mataji told me to host, but then I don't. Okay, I'm going.